All right, guys. We're going to talk today about how we moved the bankroll up and all that other stuff. I wanted to do a separate video off of Instagram because a minute is not enough, and I can't put out anything longer than a minute and a half. It just doesn't take. So, we're going to talk about it here in a better way, in a more in-depth way, and just some things I wanted to talk about with this stuff, because it's a very interesting dynamic with Instagram in particular. That doesn't really happen anywhere else. Instagram is where it mostly happens, or where most of the negative takes come from, and where most of the issues I have or hate or whatever it is I have. I don't consider it hate, but where most of the pushback comes from here. And again, we opened a bookmaker account, offshore book, $500 deposit. They give you 20% cash right there. If you pay with crypto, which we did, we got $100.07 from them, just cash, and it's there as long as we hit the rollovers, and the rollovers will be hit. There's no time limit on them, and we're not going to pull that money out, so we're just going to naturally hit those rollovers. And it's just $100 added to the bank account, or to the bankroll, which brings us up to $775.57 with I got to mark this off with the Red Sox bet and the two other bets we got going today, still to come. So $100 added to the bankroll. And again, in terms of content, in terms of that kind of stuff, I understand the dislike when I jump $100 just like that. I understand that it's not necessarily entertaining. I understand where that could all come from. I don't particularly agree with the idea that it shouldn't be allowed or it's cheating or whatever. I think there's a really big difference in terms of what people think the challenge is and what people think the point of the challenge is, and what the challenge actually is and what the point of the challenge actually is. It originally started as just me trying to do the challenge, man. Get from $1 to $1 million without adding any of my money in, and we're just betting on sports and doing that stuff, and that's what we're doing. But also starting with $1 handicaps all of that stuff, and it's very, very difficult, obviously, to just grow it just betting. And again, we're still doing all the betting stuff. If you have no bankroll, you should be doing this stuff. I can't stress that enough, that if you're not doing what I'm doing, and you're not opening every account possible, and you're not using every bonus to your advantage, and you're not building your bankroll the right way, I can't help you want to do that, and I can't help that you don't want to do that, and I just can't help those things. But it's the smart thing to do. It's the right thing to do. You should be doing this as often as you can. I live in a state that has 3 books, FanDuel, Fanatics, and DraftKings. For the challenge, we opened separate accounts on those and stuff like that, and got our bonuses in that way. And then we opened a bookmaker, and that was it. And those are our jumps. But if I were doing this from Massachusetts, where they have 7 books, or if I was doing this from New Jersey that has 20 books, or if I was doing it from Nevada, or I lived in Arizona and I could drive to Nevada, I could be doing it with 20 more books. You should be doing those things. And the way we've done this is probably the most inefficient way to do it possible. Surely, if this were done when if I started this challenge right when sports betting was legalized here, and they were giving out $50 super boosts every other day for a month and a half, and the sign-up bonus was $1,000 in bonus bets and crap like that, we'd be at 15 grand after 3-4 years, instead of where we're at now, which is still below $800. And that would be the correct way to do it. Again, that is the correct way to do it. You are holding your own self back by not doing it the way I'm doing it, and then looking at it like it's weird. I get that accusation a lot, like it's cheating. First of all, it's my challenge, and the goal is to get from $1 to $1 million doing everything we can on a sports book. So it's not cheating. What if you have disposable income that you want to put into your bankroll to grow it? By all means. We're not doing that. We're not able to do that. So there are a lot of things you should be doing if you're taking this semi-seriously and doing it the right way and wanting it to do the right way. But for whatever reason on Instagram, it gets a little bit weird with the people on there. So I wanted to do this separately to kind of just talk through it, or talk my thoughts through it, because I don't have an issue with it. And like, again, this is going to come up more, man. It's going to come up more, and it should come up more for all of you. It should be something you guys are all doing as often as possible. And one thing I was looking at earlier, like in terms of turning $1 into $1 million with like not doing any of this, which is dumb. First of all, you got to do this stuff. I recommend you do this stuff. You don't have to, but I recommend it. If I were starting with $1, we're up like 150 units since the start of the challenge, like 3 years ago. That's 50 units a year, betting like quarter unit. Like all summer we were betting just quarter units. And we went through a period where we went through a 75-day period betting quarter units where we were up 12 units and our ROI was like 17%. And we added $70 to the account. We're up 150 units total. If I were to run 150 units total back from $1, we would be, and I didn't do any of this stuff, we would be at what? $15, $16. Genuinely, we'd be at $16. And we were betting pretty well. I mean, we like, you can, again, 150 units. We've like added a bunch. We've added a ton to the account. And the betting is good. I don't think that my math is correct on that, but a unit for every 10 cents. Yeah, 10 units for every buck. So my math is correct on that, $16 back. If we were doing it now and we had another 150 units and our unit size was $5, you know, that's 5 by 150, with $750, and that's the change. But like, if we didn't do the things we were supposed to do, there's nowhere to go. Like, we cannot get off the floor. There's no possible way to get off the floor from that spot. And we're betting in, we're doing it correctly, theoretically. Like, when we're just betting, you know, we're a bit short, and I realize I bet short, and I don't bet as much as I should, and that's just me being ultra conservative with my thoughts and numbers and things like that. But again, even if we were just betting a unit and we were up at the last 50 units were 200 units and they were 300 units. Like, if we were up 300 units, or if we were up because we're betting quarter units for 2 years, and you know, we were up 300 instead of 100, we're talking $1 to $31, guys. And we would have been betting super well. I mean, we're betting super well. Again, like, we went through that really tough period in May. We made a bunch of stupid bets in there. We've made all that back. Again, we went 75 days at 16% ROI. And it's, at these stakes, it's tough to shove it up there. And I get it. And I get it. I get it. And it's, obviously the thing is to just bet. The thought process would be just bet more, and I get that portion too. But again, the way my just general nature is, and the way, like, the whole point of starting at $1 was that I could work my way up while learning and getting better at this. I think there's this assumption out there that, like, I could turn this off today and go pull all the money out of my bank account and just do this somehow and just bet my way through. And I'm not like, I'm not sure I could do that. And my sample size is decent, but my sample sizes, while they're decently sized, are still very volatile. Like, our ROI in baseball, let's say, is 6% this year, which is really good. I'll take 6% all day. In baseball, I'll take anything positive all day. But up to this year, the last 2 years was negative 0.5%. We were down like 3-4 units over 2 years worth of betting baseball. Basketball, NBA 2 years ago, we had an ROI of 19% for an entire season, which is genuinely batshit crazy good. And last year was like negative 2%. Football 2 years ago, negative 0.5%. NFL last year, 10%. Everything is so volatile. It's positive. I am a positive bettor, quote unquote, in every, if you take out ARBs, bonuses, I am a positive bettor so far in every single sport that we bet with volume. Baseball, basketball, or both basketballs, both footballs, NHL, soccer, excuse the dogs. It's still incredibly volatile. And while I learn, and the whole point was to learn and go through these things and get better while we weren't betting a ton of money. And this grew a lot quicker than I ever imagined it growing. And the bankroll's grown a little bit quicker than I thought it would ever grow, really. I thought it would tumble a little bit later down the line, but big chunks like this adding is gigantic, and it continues to snowball and things like that. But even then, the volatility's there. And if I go on a really bad streak, or maybe there's a genuine chance that NFL last year, I just had a good year, and I'm closer to a negative 0.5% better in the NFL instead of a 10% better, which would probably make sense. There's a world where I ran really hot in NBA 2 years ago, and my NBA stuff isn't real. There's signal that my soccer stuff is good. I could run really bad for a year. I know people look at it and go, you've had a lot of sample. It's not that big of sample. It really isn't. Especially for someone like me who's starting from scratch. I don't have a background in statistics. I don't have a background in anything, man. I was just fucking unloading trucks at a Home Goods, and this is where we're at, and we're learning, and every day on stream we find new breakthroughs, and we're pushing, and we're on it, and being honest is a pain in the ass. I can so easily not be honest, and we don't live bet because it's difficult to get live bets out to you guys on time when we could be making money that way. Everything is restricted in some way, and not only is it restricted in some way, we're still learning. I'm not a pro bettor and I'm not I wish I was, and I'd love to get to that point someday, and we're pushing and hopefully to get to that point someday. But it all starts with doing the right things while the bankroll's low. I kind of got off track a little bit. It's all about doing the right things when the bankroll's low. The bankroll is low. We're under $1,000. And again, every time you open a new book, or every time there's a chance to open a new book, you should just be opening the new book and using the bonuses and doing all that stuff correctly. But while we have the opportunities, while we have the ability to do things, while we have the ability to add to the bankroll correctly, without, again, this isn't breaking a rule or anything. The whole idea is to just do it betting and doing it via sports books, and that's what we're doing. I could very easily take a paycheck and just shove it into the bankroll like you guys could, and that would really help us along the journey, wouldn't it? If I added a couple grand into the bankroll, and all of a sudden we're cooking. But that's not the spirit of it, I don't think. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk through this a little bit here. I know I'm all over the place, and it's not really structured around anything, but I don't like the idea that every time I open a new book I have to have a conversation like this. I think it's weird. And stuff like that. But again, in terms of the actual thing, adding $100 to the bankroll is gigantic. You know how much time that saves? Again, we went 2.5 months there betting quarter units at a 15% ROI, 16%, 15.71%. And we added like $70 to the account. We added 100 today. That saves months, theoretically. Like months. Like we could have 2 bad months and a really, really good month, and we'd be further along by adding this. Like this stuff saves so much time, and we're trying to get to $1,250 by the end of the year. January 1st. Again, January 1st last year, our balance was at $248. 2 years ago, it was at $28. We're up to $775, and we're hoping to get to $1,250 by the end of the year. Once we get to $1,250, all we have to do, quote unquote, is double the bankroll 10 more times to be over $1 million. 9 more times to get us to $640K. And then we won't even have to double it that last time. But even if we wanted to be safe, we have to double the bankroll 10 total times after this. Like, it's not like, I know it seems far away, and that's where we're at, but when you break it down and look at it, maybe it's not that far away, and maybe it's a little bit more doable than it looks. And I understand but again, I would feel so much worse about this, doing stuff like this, if the betting was really bad. Like if I were like negative all the fucking time. Like, again, we just went through a 75-day period of really great betting, and we're up over 150 units lifetime in this, just genuinely doing really well. I would feel a little bit worse if we were doing really poorly. We were down, like if we were at $1 and we'd never made a winning day in our life and we were up to 700, I would feel a little bit different about that. But even then, you should just be doing what you can to get money in to the bankroll. So yeah, it's an interesting convo. Again, I'm sorry, I was just kind of ranting through it, but it's sort of an annoying convo that I tend to have every time. But again, added $100 to the bankroll, saved months theoretically, and yeah, it looks good, moving in the right direction.